Hey everyone, thank you all so much for joining us for another episode of Women of DevOps. And today we are joined by Kat Cosgrove.
Hey there.
Welcome to Women of
Thank you.
DevOps. To start, could you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, my name is Kat Cosgrove. I'm a developer advocate, working largely in the DevOps space. I live in Seattle, Washington, though I didn't grow up here. I grew up in Memphis, Tennessee. I have a husband and two extremely cute munchkin cats who actually Espresso writes most of my tweets. You see her a lot on my Twitter account.
What actually brought you to Seattle, if you don't mind my asking? Because I've been beautiful. I don't blame you.
It is beautiful. I've wanted to move here for a long time. I moved here like 6 or 7 years ago. But what actually brought me here was my husband. We were living together in Atlanta. I moved from Memphis to Atlanta, and he's a fencing coach.
Wow.
So like the sport, yeah, like he teaches kids to stab each other competitively. And he got an offer from a fencing club up here, like a full-time offer. He was coaching part-time then. And we just said, you know what? Let's get out of here. We didn't really like living in Atlanta. We weren't particularly attached to it. So we packed up all of our stuff and drove across the country 2 weeks later. Probably
Nice.
super short notice.
That is
Yeah.
amazing. Oh, if I ever get the opportunity to move Pacific Northwest, that's probably where I'm going.
Oh, it's gorgeous here.
Yeah.
It's expensive, but it's gorgeous.
I'm in Florida right now, and the weather just keeps getting warmer and warmer. So,
It doesn't
peace
get
out,
very warm
Florida.
here.
So, how long have you been in tech, and what was your career progression like?
I did not get here the normal way. So I did go to college, but I went to college for not computer science, and also I dropped out. I spent a long time as a bartender. I worked at an independent video rental store for a long time, which I actually super miss, but it did not pay the bills. And my dad's a software engineer, so I kind of grew up around it, and I had taught myself some things. So to make ends meet, I started freelancing as like a web developer. I was building a lot of WordPress and Joomla sites for people. And from there, I went to a coding boot camp in Seattle because I wanted to learn something other than just like, JavaScript, HTML, CSS, PHP. Learned Python there, and then got a job at JFrog as, at first, an embedded Linux engineer. So
Nice.
haven't actually formally been in tech for all that long. It's been, I don't know, 5 years total. But it was always kind of there. It was always a hobby. It was always something I did. I just didn't do it for my job for quite a long time.
Yeah, you're actually my first boot camper, and I am so happy because boot camps have a very soft spot for me in my heart. That is really cool. I'm going to ask you more about that, but
Okay.
what's when it comes to DevOps, like what's your area of expertise? Just because it's so overarching, there's so many facets to it. Like, what do you really hone in on?
Yeah, it is really, really broad. I focus pretty heavily since I'm a developer advocate. I do a lot of like teaching people things. That's my job. But I focus really heavily on very basic, like 101 entry level content because there is a lot of that stuff, but a lot of it is frankly not very good. It makes a lot of assumptions about what the reader understands, and I don't like that. I don't find it useful. So I write a lot of 101 level content on just like broad concepts, things like what is CI/CD, explain package management to me, that kind of stuff. But I also do a lot of work with the CNCF, the Cloud Native Computing Foundation. I'm a CNCF ambassador. This year I was a track chair for KubeCon, and on and on and on. So a lot of Kubernetes as well.
Nice. Is there like a specific area of DevOps that maybe you haven't dipped your feet in yet that you're like stoked to get involved in?
Yeah, I don't have a ton of experience with infrastructure as code other than using Terraform. Uh, and I would like to get into that more now just because it seems like a good tool to use to teach people about some adjacent DevOps concepts like cloud computing. And it also seems like a kind of shortcut to introducing people to things like Kubernetes. But I like to use tools like that are something you see in the wild, like in real actual practice, that serve as an abstraction for something that's otherwise like very difficult to explain. So it makes it easier to give people like a practical functional example of some other tool in use. You don't have to worry as much about like the intricacies of standing something up if you're using some IAC tool. So I'm looking forward to learning more about those kinds of things and seeing if I can turn that into some 101 cloud content too.
Nice. Okay, back to education, just because I'm so excited about this one. So do you believe that 4-year degrees are the way, or do you encourage joining boot camps, start as a junior dev, and then like make your way up to DevOps? Because there's not really much in terms of DevOps for boot camps. It's just too much to learn. So what do you think would be like the best path?
I do not think that a computer science degree is necessary by any stretch of the imagination. And frankly, fresh computer science grads are, in my experience so far, not as useful right after graduation as boot camp grads are. They have a much better like theory of understanding, but they don't have like a practical applications understanding. They can't hit the ground running, right? Their foundation can be stronger, but they can't start writing code on day one, you know? So it depends on what you want, really. In specifically a DevOps sort of framing, a lot of boot camps do teach you some DevOps tools and concepts now. The boot camp I went to, we did learn how to use Ansible, which was pretty neat. And the boot camp I went to also now does have an actual like Ops 401. Like they just have an Ops course, which is pretty cool. I don't know of any others that do, but the one I went to does now. It's new. They've only had it for, I don't know, like 6 months or so. But if you just want to like be useful fast, then yes, I think a boot camp is a better way to do that. If you want a super, super strong like foundation of theory and fundamentals, a computer science degree is the better way to go. But I think this comes down to the individual. I didn't do well in college, and that is just because I don't learn well in an environment like that. It's also pretty hard for me. This is going to be a very like US centric answer, the next bit. It is extremely hard for me to justify going potentially hundreds of thousands of dollars into debt for an education. I can't personally justify it. I think that's absurd. So
yeah, I would agree there.
Yeah, like if you don't have scholarships that are getting you a free ride, like I can't say it's worth it. I got a scholarship for my boot camp. So
nice. The DevOps one you were talking about, is it still 3 months?
So the one I went to, there's a 201 level course that is a month long, and a 301 level course that is also a month long. And everybody goes through the same 201 and 301, regardless of which 401 level course they're going into. The 401 level course is 10 weeks. And last I checked, they had like ops and cybersecurity, Python, Java, C#, and JavaScript as options for the 401. Yeah.
So I'm sucky at math, but that's about 4.5 months total?
Yeah.
Okay. That's not bad. It's
not bad at all. No. You can grind straight through them. I didn't. I took a break between 301 and 401 to work as a TA there for about 2 months because, I needed money. And also teaching people. Nice. Yeah, they paid us, so that's good. Yeah. And also I think teaching people something is a really good way to make sure that you understand it yourself. So it was valuable as a learning experience, and also, for being able to pay my bills.
We like food. We like not starving.
Yeah, we like paying the rent.
If you could go back and do it all over again, what would you change, if anything? Like, are there is there some advice you give your younger self in regards to your career?
I wouldn't change anything, but I would like to have a conversation with myself about 2 weeks into my first job after a boot camp. This was absolutely imposter syndrome coming to get me. And also it was not having a good understanding of what like an actual office job in tech can be like, especially at a startup. But about 2 weeks in, I had like a full scale hiding in the bathroom crying meltdown at work
Gosh.
because because I wasn't immediately writing production code. Like I'd gotten hired and they were like, cool, we don't actually want you to write Python. We need you to write Go. And I was like, I don't know Go. And they were like, that's fine, learn it. And I didn't have a good concept of like how long it's acceptable to go without being productive at a tech job. I thought that I needed to be able to write Go within a week or something, but that's not true. They didn't actually expect that from me, right? Because that's unreasonable and it's absurd, but nobody told me that. Nobody told me that. So I freaked out and had a meltdown over it. So yeah, I think I would go talk to myself about setting expectations with respect to productivity timelines. Like everybody, when they start a new tech job, regardless of how long they've been in the industry, there is a ramp up period, right? Like you have to learn new tools, you have to learn new technologies, you have to learn new processes. You maybe have to learn a new programming language, and nobody expects you to actually contribute for like weeks or months.
Yeah.
And nobody told me that. So I would like other people to know that.
Yeah. That is some good advice right there. My partner just hired another senior DevOps engineer at his company. And guys, first day, he's like, okay, what do you want me to do? And it's like, bro, take some time, learn all
Yeah.
this stuff. It's okay. Like, but he's just like ready to go. Like,
I envy that gumption, but there's like internal documentation you have to read. You don't know how things work at this specific company. Even if you know how all of the tools work, you don't know how they're set up. You don't know how they're talking to each other. You don't know what the actual like team or org or company specific like practices and processes are. Like you got to learn that stuff every time.
yeah, absolutely. Take your time. It's okay.
Yeah.
What has your experience been like so far as a woman in tech?
Ooh, I spend a lot of time at conferences, right? And I get hit on a lot at conferences, and my male coworkers don't. The other day, after giving a webinar, I got an email at my work account for somebody who wanted to ask me out.
Bold.
Very bold, very bold. When I told him it was unprofessional and inappropriate, he argued with me about whether or not it was unprofessional and inappropriate. And that's not something my male coworkers really experience or have to deal with. Somebody tried to get me fired for he messaged me through like a conferencing platform trying to hire me because he was looking for quote females for a team. And that's just, don't call me that. Don't call women that. It's clinical, it's dehumanizing, it's weird. Don't do that. And when I had a problem with it, he said some unpleasant things and then filed a COC violation about me to the conference, which didn't go anywhere. He got COC'd in return. And then he contacted my employer's HR department and tried to get me fired.
Wow.
And that kind of stuff does not happen to my male coworkers. It doesn't. My teammates don't have to deal with that. But fortunately, since I'm heavily involved in the cloud native community, I have never seen a corner of tech or DevOps this aggressively intolerant of that kind of behavior. If that kind of thing happens at a cloud native event or in a cloud native community, I don't even have to deal with it. Somebody else deals with it for me, and I may not even see it happen, which is incredible. But I think it's unfortunate that this is where we still are. It does feel like it's kind of getting better. You see more and more conferences and more places having robust codes of conduct that are actually enforced, which is super, super helpful. But in other ways, we are still where we are. Don't hit on people at conferences. Nobody, I'm not here for that.
We're there to learn. We're there to network.
Yeah, this is not Bumble or Tinder or whatever. This is a conference.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
On that note, what's something that you could tell men out there to help women feel more welcome and comfortable going into tech?
So we can't tell who the quote good guys are unless you show us. You can't just tell us that. So it's a thing where, like, stand up for people who have less privilege or less power than you. Don't make me defend myself. Don't do that. If one of your buddies or one of your coworkers or just a stranger at a conference says or does something that you think might make a woman uncomfortable or make her feel objectified or isolated, you deal with it. You shut it down. Don't make us do it. Because first of all, it's exhausting having to shut that stuff down yourself. Second of all, they often don't listen to us. Like the guy who argued with me when I told him that trying to ask me out on my work email after a presentation was unprofessional. Like they really don't listen to us, but they do listen to you. So lend us your power. That's helpful. It shows us that you're safe and it takes some pressure off of us.
It's kind of that whole silence is acceptance, right?
Yeah, it's if you're quietly letting it happen, you're complicit.
Yep.
I
am so grateful for your honesty right now.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, so what are some common misconceptions keeping women away from DevOps?
I don't think that there's anything that keeps women away from DevOps specifically. I don't think DevOps is unique in that. If anything, because DevOps is so young as like a cohesive whole, it's maybe less of a problem in DevOps than it is in, like, say, like Linux kernel development or whatever. Yeah, I don't think DevOps is unique in having specifically gendered barriers to entry. If anything, if you're getting into the cloud native space, it's pretty openly more friendly towards women than a lot of other corners of tech. So, come on, it still sucks in some ways, in the same ways that a lot of the rest of tech sucks. But we are extremely loud and extremely mean and extremely outspoken when somebody tries to do something awful. So we will stand up for you.
Love that. In your career, it doesn't have to be at your current position, but what's your favorite project you've ever gotten to work on and why?
So this was when I was a software engineer at JFrog on the IoT team. We built a self-driving car, like a miniature self-driving car. Yeah. So you can build one of these yourself. It's called a donkey car. They're very cool. They're very fun. They cost about $350 in parts to build. It's like very, very rudimentary machine learning. And within, I don't know, 3 or 4 hours, you can have the thing built and driving itself. But we took it a step further. We were trying to resolve, we were building a proof of concept to try to resolve an issue with the way software updates work in cars. Cars have lots of computers in them. Some of you are probably thinking, oh, no, not my car, because I am allergic to that and I drive a 2004 Toyota Camry. I have bad news for you. That has computers in it too, because brakes have been fly-by-wire since like the 90s. But software updates in cars suck. They can't happen remotely. In the overwhelming majority of cases, Teslas are an exception. It's no longer as bad as it used to be. More cars can do this now, but famously, the Jaguar, I think it was the F-Pace, sorry, the F-Pace, the I-Pace, there was a problem with the computer that handled the brakes. It was a bug in the software. It caused a regenerative braking systems failure, and because there was no way to remotely update the software, they had to issue a recall for the car for like a $75,000 luxury SUV, right? That sucks because the only way to update it was to take the thing to a service center and physically flash the computer. It had to be flashed. There's no way to update it. So we built a system using this little remote controlled self-driving car to fix that. We glued together like Artifactory, which is one of JFrog's products, K3S, which is from Rancher, it's Kubernetes meant for embedded Linux devices, Mender, and Yocto to build a system that would allow the car to update over the air while it was being driven. So an application level update could happen in about 35 seconds without interrupting the driver at all. And a full firmware update took about 5 to 10 minutes. And it happened in the background while the driver was doing whatever. You're going to the grocery store, it doesn't matter. And then it flips to the new partition the next time the car restarts. So that was the coolest thing I have built. It was very difficult. It was very complicated, but it was very fun. And it's actually what led to me being a developer advocate, because it got a lot of press. People wanted us to talk about it, but there were only 3 engineers on the team. It was me and a guy named Brennan Ashton and a Ben Hirosh, and they didn't really want to speak about it publicly. So I mean, they didn't want to go on stage, and I didn't care. So I went on stage and talked about it, and the DevRel team liked what they saw, I guess, and poached me.
Wow.
But
did anything ever happen with that?
So our tech lead, Brennan, he did go and talk directly to some car manufacturers about it. I don't know what came of it. I wasn't really privy to that level of detail, but I know that more cars are starting to roll out like over-the-air updates. I think some BMWs can do it now, which is pretty cool. This is an inevitability. Like, this is going to happen. I have no idea. They're not using any of our code for sure. This was just a proof of concept. It never became a product. The code never ended up anywhere. But it's an inevitability. This will happen. We just proved that it's, doable with off-the-shelf tools and parts.
Yeah, that is really cool, man. I
Thank you.
Guarantee you my Mazda does not do that.
It doesn't. My Volkswagen doesn't do it. My Mini Cooper doesn't do it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that was really awesome.
Thank you.
Is there anything exciting coming down the pipeline for you? Examples would be like a new certification, mentorship program, speaking engagements, anything cool that'll further your mark in tech?
So I speak a lot. That is my job. Hopefully I'll be speaking at KubeCon LA, which will be a hybrid event. They're going to try to do it partially in person in October, which is going to be rad, but I will be there either way, whether I'm speaking or not. So if you see me there, you are welcome to come say hi and talk to me. But
hit on you.
Other exciting things. I'm trying to get some certifications. I'm taking some break time from public speaking to go get some certs. I need to go get my CKA and CKD, which are Kubernetes certifications from the CNCF. So probably those next, just to tell people that a piece of paper says that I'm an expert.
Can't do without those pieces of paper, man.
Need them.
Yeah. My partner has a bunch of the AWS ones.
Yeah.
Just the time it takes to like study and prep for. Oof.
Yeah, they're I don't know if I would pay for them personally, but they are free for me because I'm a CNCF ambassador. So they we're allowed access to the training materials and certification courses for free.
Yeah, that's not a bad deal.
Yeah, I may as well get them. I'm not paying for it, so.
All right, final question. Is there anything else you would like to share? Perhaps a word of encouragement for fellow women in tech.
Yeah. We hear a lot of bad things about what it's like to be a woman in tech. We are surrounded by it. It comes up regularly on tech Twitter. And I know that it sounds terrible. I'm not going to lie to you. Sometimes it really is. It super sucks. But there are a lot of very supportive people in tech, in all corners of tech, whether you're in DevOps or not. And if you just find us, we're very friendly, and we're also very willing to aggressively protect you. So just talk to us. Don't let the fact that it sounds terrible keep you out if this is what you want to do, because it is fulfilling if you like solving puzzles, if you like fixing things, if you like helping people, if you like building stuff, if you like breaking stuff. And also it pays super well. So if this is what you want to do, come talk to us, and we will help you make it happen, and we'll do everything we can to keep you safe and happy while we're doing it.
Awesome. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you.